Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Scott, and welcome to another episode of Judo Analysis. Today's show, I'm going to pick apart a throw called Obi Tori Gaeshi. Obi means belt, Tori means to grab it, and Gaeshi means to roll them backward over your backside. And in several years back, the Kodokan reclassified several techniques, and this was one of them. It had often been confused with what is now labeled Hikomi Gaeshi, or pull down and roll back throw. So, but now the Kodokan classifies it as you will see it today in these videos. Through the years, it's been also used with great success in Sambo and other forms of, like you see Georgian Cheetah Oba, different forms of grappling and fighting. As we old-timers used to call it the Carbarelli. Because it was used by Shota Carbarelli, who was a great judo champion, a great Sambo champion. I think he was a world Sambo champion. I think I don't know if he was a world champion in judo, but he certainly was a world medalist in judo. And he used it with great success in his career back in the 70s and 80s, as others did too. So we often call it the Carbarelli, named after him. But we're going to also veer off a little bit into an area where it starts to get a little bit differently from the basic Obi Tori Gaeshi, as you'll see presented in the Kodokan. We're going to go into more Sambo depth, the Sambo approach to doing it, where we're going to be lacing the leg in what would be considered Kawazugaki. And Kawazugaki really it's a leg entwining type thing. It's very dangerous if you do it incorrectly or with malicious intent. But when you do it with this format, with this type of throw, I've never seen an injury occur from it. So you'll see how we do a Kawazugaki to lace the leg, and you have Derek doing it. He's doing it quite well. And you'll see that happen here and how we would throw them. So it's going to be a fairly long video today. We're going to take a pretty darn close look at Obi Tori Gaeshi. It's one of those throws not a lot of people do because there's a lot to it. I mean, there's a lot to it. And it's also one that people kind of think it's just a power, a lifting, brute strength type throw. It's not. I've seen athletes in all body weights do it with great success. And in fact, I think it's probably the lights and middleweights who've done it even with better than the heavyweights. So you'll see what we talk about, or what we mean when we're talking about Obi Tori Gaeshi and variations of it. I might also add, for a period of time, it was not given an official designation by the Kodokan, like I said earlier, so we call it the hoisting throw or the lifting throw as well. So whatever you call it, it's a great technique, and it is one of those techniques I think not enough people do, and they certainly should be doing it. So here we go with Obi Tori Gaeshi.
You're not going to take me up. And just wait till you put me back down. So, your number, I can't possibly
Okay, let's take a look here at, we're going to do what the Kodokan is now calling Obi Tori Gaeshi, which they classify as a hand technique. We've used it in Sambo for years, and a lot of you guys who've been around in Judo and Sambo a while know this. In Judo, we call it the Carbarelli. First one, Derek, let's show the one where you just do the thigh, inside thigh sweep. So we're getting a Georgian grip, and we're coming in, and we're just going to come in, and with Derek's right knee, he's going to just lift inside of Tony's right thigh, and he's just going to lift him and throw him. And again, this is what they're calling Obi Tori Gaeshi these days, which is the new syllabus of the Kodokan. And you can do the same thing, sweeping to the outside. Now, let's do the one with a leg lace, like we see more of the Carbarelli, or like we do in Sambo more, where there's a Kawazugaki action. There you go. And again, I would assume that in the International Judo Federation rules, this probably isn't permitted, but this is part of the Kodokan syllabus too. So that looks more like the old Sambo version that we do quite often here. And you can see there. So Derek, can you show us what you're doing there? It's a cross grip into a Georgian grip,
Right.
and you're really doing a front thigh lift, front knee lift. It looks very much like a sumi gaeshi or hikomi gaeshi, but you're not doing a sacrifice. You're doing a lift and a lot of hip movement in the turn. So can you show us that?
Basically, I think this would be what in Sambo this would be a variation of a skull check, but in Judo this would be hikomi gaeshi, or maybe even a variation of Obi Tori Gaeshi.
Obi Tori Gaeshi, possibly, yeah, right.
So we're going to start by catching a cross grip with 2 hands on that sleeve, and we're going to bring it down so I get that shoulder dip. And then as he pulls his hand back, he brings his shoulder in to get that one back, which allows me to cut through and get my Georgian grip real tight. And I'm still pulling this sleeve right here.
I see what you're doing there, yeah.
So you don't let go of the sleeve when you get the Georgian grip. You keep both of them because that's going to make it impossible for him to turn out on this side. And as soon as we get that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step in, I start to pull, and I catch with the thigh. And you're not going right up into his balls. If I hadn't turned, I would hit him right in the crotch. But what I'm doing is I'm turning and pulling that Georgian grip, and catching the upper part of his thigh with my knee and my thigh. Boom, and over we go. And as you get more athletic with it, you come in and really try and get sky high with that knee and turn hard. And you'll get a big, beautiful Sambo.
I notice also, people would think you have to lift a lot with your knee, but I see a lot of hip action there too. A lot of hip rotation.
Right, it looks like that it's a big, like, strong person's throw, but it really is a lot of the work is already done just by dipping that shoulder and catching the Georgian grip. And then the finish is just really good hip turn. I need to get him up off the foot, so I lift with my knee, but from there, it's all turn.
See, a lot of people emphasize, they think first it's a knee lift, a thigh lift, which we do that, yes, but that hip rotation is really what makes it work, wouldn't you say?
Right, yeah, a lot of the reversing style Georgian grip Sambo throws are a lot more of it is rotation than it is lift. It looks like, you know, the Carbarellis and the grapevine throw. It looks like you're doing this huge big hip up, but really you're just getting their hips up and up so that you can twist them super hard and turn or arch.
Yeah, that thigh is just like is extra, really. It is extra. Yeah,
it's the cherry on top. If I've done my work, I'm not really using my knee too much.
It's very much a hip rotational type throw.
Right.
Can you show again here and what we're doing? Of that. So cross grip, it comes back. Now see that Georgian grip, and like Don was saying there, you're using that left hand, you're driving down with that left hand and controlling that Georgian grip, and you're going to steer with your right hand as you lift, right?
Pull on the right hand to get him started. Push down with your elbow on your left, and pull with your left hand. And that way it's like a steering wheel kind of motion. One big circle. Okay, so if we did it like super, super slow and I didn't lift it.
Right. It's the hip rotation, and you're using almost like a sumi gaeshi, only it's a standing sumi gaeshi or a hikomi gaeshi type thing.
And then again, you could go straight back with it, but in that case, there would be a lot more arch in the back, and it would be a little bit of a strength move at that point. You have to have the flexibility and the strength in your back to really arch back.
That's why the hip rotation, I think, is very athletic, and also I think a higher success ratio with the hip rotation.
I would have to agree. It's a lot more easy to land on somebody and get that full throw when he's rotating, because it's an easy turn for you. Whereas back from here, you know, I've actually got to get over there.
Yeah, some people like in wrestling might think of like a belly to belly, but that's not it, is it? It's very much a rotational hip rotation turning movement.
And again, there are variations of it where you go up the middle with the Georgian grip and kick the guy over your shoulder, but Like, that isn't what we're doing here. It's a hip rotation up the middle, prop the far knee to get him to flip over.
Correct. Yeah. Can you dibble one or two more and then we'll call it? So when you're coming in with that thigh, I'd like to focus in on that hip. Let me try to get a better angle from where you guys are, and I'll try to get this angle. Let's take a look at how his that hip action is. Okay, go ahead full speed from this angle. I think we got a good shot here. Take a look at that hip rotation. And that's with her, that complete turn and finish belly to belly. Obviously you have to make it work.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of the benefits of the Georgian grip, as well as the 2-on-1 grip. You know, because basically this is a, you know, Russian style 2-on-1 grip, however you want to put it, combined with the Georgian grip. It's super easy to pin the guy when I get him down. You know, keep that chest-to-chest contact, and you'll land in a pin.
Right. So you get a 4-point throw into a 4-point hold. There's the match right there in Sambo. Right. Yeah, very much so. Okay. One more time, guys. I'm sorry, Eric. Thank you so much for your patience. There we go. Okay. Thanks so much. From Sambo.
Normally we have pants to do it, so it makes it a little bit easier. Instead of having to step in, I get a hold of the pants, jack his leg up at the pants, and then you do the lift. We don't have pants in Sambo, but we do have this 2-on-1 Georgian belt grip, okay? So, and when you get good enough with it, you could do it with the elbow, but I'm going to show it with the 2-on-1 belt grip because it makes it a lot easier, okay? So I'm going to get him closer here so I can go through this nice and slow. Okay, again, I'm breaking him down. Now, a lot of times when we do this, the guy kind of hops his hips backwards, okay? So you notice he's not in my armpit anymore, so it's going to be difficult for me to do that step in knee lift, okay? He's now completely off. I don't have enough torque to do it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to step in and lace his leg, okay? Most people are like, oh, you're just going to, you know, like trip him. No, I'm lacing his leg so I can hop into it, okay? And then now he's stuck here. Okay, the leg lace keeps him from being able to run around the corner. Okay, if he tries it, there's a bunch of different variations to it, but usually you just end up throwing him harder.
By the way, we'll want to emphasize here, in Judo, this is an illegal move, and it's a good reason it's illegal, called kawazu gaki.
Okay, got this there, he pops out, step in, and lace. Okay, that lace keeps him from being able to run away from me. It also gives me the opportunity to pull him in nice and tight to my armpit. Okay? Then hopping again so that I'm facing him, and as soon as I get that, I start the twist, and as soon as I feel it, I lift and then look behind me. Okay? Don't hop back. I want to keep you right here. Okay? Hop in. You good? Yeah. Notice how high they get.
I'm going to come around a different position, YouTube viewers.
Welded into the guy usually when you get that. Okay? And the fact that you're able to lift him from that position makes it a huge, big throw, okay? And it's mostly because of the leg wrap. The leg wrap locks his leg there so that you can get in tight. I've successfully parked his leg there. As soon as I'm ready, I unlace and then just go sideways with it, okay? So it becomes just stand straight with it. I'm there, okay, unlace and then catch it sideways like that, okay? But since I'm here, okay, see how deep that is? Good?
One more time before we stop, just for the YouTube crowd here. Thank you. There you go. And you can see he's unlacing while he's throwing him. You know, it kind of comes uncoupled as he throws. So.
Let's get a different angle at what Derek's doing there. It's a very subtle move on that knee. Yeah, we're going to kick key on that. There we go. There you can see that. A very deep sweeping. A lot of hip action in that. And it's almost like a Kuriashi or a Sasai Surikomiyashi, but instead of using a really, really heavy thigh sweep, thigh lifting action. Very powerful throw. And you can see he steps in here, and we have it there. So thigh sweeps, thigh lifts are viable techniques. I guarantee none of these guys are on steroids. You do not have to be on steroids to do it. It is good technique. It's just a matter of applying it correctly. They're not as hard as one thinks, but you have to have a good idea of how to use your hips and how to use movement with your feet. So it's a variation of some fundamental throws, but the thigh sweep, the thigh lifts are all tried and true, certainly in the sport of Sambo, and we've seen him, Robert van der Wal, the Olympic champion, use these with great success. And of course, a lot of the Georgian and Soviet Judo and Sambo fighters did for many years as well. We'll show a few more, then we'll stop. Very nice pickup. We'll get a different angle here so you can see the throw of the guys. There we go. And these are useful throwing techniques that our guys do in competition, have in the past, hope to continue to do. And so there you have it, some good thigh sweeping action, thigh lifts, based on Sambo, but certainly in any type of a grappling sport, any type of fighting sport, it's just good. It's good technique. And here we go. Oh, a nice thigh sweep from the side. Good turn here. Okay. Ben sweeps it. Very good, clean technique. So there we have some thigh sweep, thigh lifts in tonight's practice.